Welcome back. Let's talk about this video. I want to play 3 video clips from, I think it's Pulse TV Niger. So shout out to Pulse TV Niger. But Sedaboj, this girl, influencer online, was on there, and she was in an argument with this young man.
You're responsible.
And there's some key things that they said that I thought, potentially I might take them out of context. I don't think so. I listened to the whole thing. But I thought I should share some lesson. There's some key things they said, talking points that are very, very dangerous that I want to share with you. I'm going to play the video and then we'll take it from there.
Key point. You're responsible.
But that's what you've been saying.
I'm not responsible for the way you comprehend me. That's a you problem.
No, that's what you're saying.
All right, so don't ever say things like that unless you're catching cruise. Don't say things like that. If you're communicating, quote unquote, and the other person is receiving a certain type of way, if you're engaged in that conversation, that is your problem. Okay, now if you've completely stopped having the conversation with them, sure, you can claim that that's a you problem. But the fact that you kept talking and you're claiming that that's a you problem, your communication skills are terrible. They're telling you they're hearing something else, but you're you want to force that semantics, that exact word down their throat to mean something else. You're not wise if you're doing things like that. So this young man, a lot of people were celebrating him too on the internet, say, hey, he handled the ladies very well. They were arguing feminist stuff, 50-50, blah blah blah, and he's holding his ground. Kudos to him to that. But there's some talking points that I heard. I'm like, okay, these are the problematic talking points that will cause trouble for him in the nearest future if he doesn't pay attention. Let's play it again.
Point.
You're responsible.
But that's what you've been saying.
I'm not responsible for the way you comprehend me. That is you.
The way it's in your best interest to take responsibility for how people comprehend you. It's called effective communication. At the very minimum, you should listen to how come, at least first, right? How come? So if they're not comprehending you, at the worst, right, they don't understand English. Okay, that's your responsibility to realize that that person does not understand English. So if you keep engaging them, that becomes your responsibility.
Oh, that's a you problem.
No, that's what you're saying.
That's what you're hearing.
That's what you're saying. Key
All right.
point.
So they're just on the podcast, right? No big deal. But people do this. Married couples do this all the time. No, you're lying. That's not what you said. No, but you said something. No. That's not what you said. Because they lack a simple skill set. Active listening. Okay, you can see they're talking over each other, right? Oh, it's not. No, this is exactly what they go and do inside of marriage. Let me play another one for you really quickly.
Fairness. Whenever there is a lapse, you should. I was suggesting equity, fairness. Whenever there is a lapse, you should be able
So
to
you're
fill
planning
that
for
lapse.
lapse in the entire
There
relationship.
would be lapses. There's a reason why there. What I was saying, I was suggesting equity.
Equity and fairness. This is the Prestige family. We don't do that, right? Equity and fairness in society at large, at workplace, equal rights, sure. In a romantic relationship, you shoot yourself on the legs if you're always going for equity and fairness. Okay? You should, because if people just start doing the same thing and match energy, nobody's giving, right? You exhaust yourselves out, essentially, right? You spend all the time that you're supposed to be using to give and romantically give and seduce your partner. You'll be using that to become a moralizer. Number 3, moralizer, the police, judgmental, poisons, blame, fault. You too did this. You too, you should do that. You too. If you already find yourself in that space, chances are you already have damages in your relationship anyway. But I'm just saying, maybe you can start becoming a little bit extra aware. And so, of course, naturally, you're going to come up as needy. Because why? Because you're on a mission to get equity and fairness. It sounds cute on the surface until you find yourself in a relationship and then you find that you're always competing with your partner. It's not a good thing.
What I was saying, I was suggesting equity, fairness. Whenever there is a lapse, you should be able
So
to
you're
fill
planning
that
for
lapse.
lapse in the entire
There
relationship.
would be lapse.
So now the second part, whenever there's a lapse, they were talking about 50-50 in a relationship, you to feel that the best thing is that person, out of their own free will, they do that anyway. It's not stuff that you should, or some type of rules or anything like that. If you're moving in that angle, you're probably, it's already too bad, and you're probably attacking the wrong issue. That's not the issue. Right? The issue is that that person is competing with you because they don't feel safe and they feel like they should get their own too. But if you end up in a relationship where ideally you should want to give to each other, but see finish enter sometimes, you start taking each other for granted. It would be nice to yourself if you're self-aware and say, okay, let me back off, let me give to myself so I can give to my partner and focus on that first for a season before you try to harvest. Does that make sense?
Says there's a reason why they're
All right, let me play one more from them. This is Post TV Nigeria. Shout out to Post TV Nigeria.
If you get married, will you be
If-
the head?
both of us are heads.
Ahead.
2 heads, yes.
Okay.
One
Yes.
neck, love it.
Fantastic.
Two heads are definitely better than one.
Period.
That's like two sisters joining
Justice
together.
for men.
That's your
All right, she just shamed him. He attracted that. Okay, say the boy. If you see her mouth on the internet, you know she has a mouth on her.
Yo, with me, nigga. Fuck wrong with you, nigga? Come on, with my glasses. Get off of me before I drop your goofy ass again.
You'll find that women don't necessarily want that two-head nonsense. Okay, they want you to lead. Women want you to lead. Okay, so I don't know where this young man came out of. Excuse me. Hold on. That they start to do this two-head thing. They're asking you a question. I don't know if that was poised to be a tricky question, but the two heads, what do you mean two head? Anything that has two heads is a monster. We're talking about human beings, romantic relationships. There is a saying that two heads are better than one, right? We got to put things in context. Okay, let's not shoot ourselves on the legs. Okay, even if that was a trick question, the household needs one head. It's as simple as that. Okay, if you have to do extra shalaye around why it can be two head and all this kind of, the people you think you're pandering to, they don't want that two head nonsense. Just listen to this clip again.
Or you- If you are like, are you the head of, like, if you get married, will you be
If-
the head?
both of us are heads.
Ahead.
2 heads, yes.
Oh.
Because why? Because he needed to make the point that we're fighting for equity and fairness. Could it work? It's not gonna work. Gentlemen, don't fall for this ever. Okay, you might be on a hot seat somewhere and you're being asked a question and then you're like, oh, I guess baby. She wants to as no, she wants you to be the head. She's attracted to a head. She's attracted to a leader typically. Okay, and if she comes and run to the stage somewhere and say, no, we just were like, that's not typical. Okay, that's not typical. And if you dig in deeper enough, you'll be shocked.
I never expected it.
You will just get the shocking of your life. So please,
He shock you.
two heads. What the hell is that?
If you get married, will you be
If-
the head?
Both of us are heads.
Ahead.
Both of you are heads. And what did she say next?
2 heads, yes.
Okay.
One
Yes.
neck, love it.
And she said, oh, okay.
Fantastic.
Now this girl, she's a troll on the internet, so she trolls quote unquote broke men. I don't take what she says seriously. There's some truth to what she said. The reality is that you need to be self-sustainable as a man anyway, before you're approaching girls that will ask you for money. And you're attracting a woman who's asking you for money. There's something wrong with you too. But let's continue.
They are definitely better than one.
Period.
And you see that girl is looking. This girl sitting next to him is like, two heads are better than one. And then it goes, period. What happens?
That's like two sisters joining
Justice
together.
for men.
That's your
She said that's like two sisters joining together.
opinion. And
That's
I,
it.
like I said,
Because,
it's
see,
a wrong opinion,
for you
but
to-
All right. I just think it's a terrible answer. Please, gentlemen, don't fall for that answer. The household needs a head. The reality is that when things play out in terms of action, then obviously you need to involve everybody involved. You need to be best friends. You need to be friends. It's a romantic relationship at the end of the day. But even real life kicks in, you're gonna need your friend, absolutely. But somebody's gonna be held accountable if that household fails. If that unit of organization fails, one person will need to be held accountable for that, right? So there should be some kind of leader. Okay, I don't care who it is, but there needs to be one. it could be the woman if that's how you want to do things.
Hey!
I don't care, but it needs to be one. Okay, so but yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified whenever we go live, and I'll be back in no time.
It's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.